And what's interesting about that and Amblin and Bottle Rocket's a little bit different is the tripod establishing shot.
Yeah.
Let me get a close up on what's happening to really like just have this world told, like let me compress all this stuff. How much information can I give the viewer in this amount of time? And I don't like thinking about how much information can I give to the viewer because that's like very YouTube video-y of like, all right, their retention rate needs to be up. They need to be interested, which is, I mean, you're playing with that a little bit. I think the start, I really like starting with a bang. That's the only thing. Like, I know it doesn't need to be, and that's something I struggled with American Dreamers was like, I don't have any action till it gets towards the end of the story. In American Dreamers, the basic story, if you don't follow us, first of all, it's amazing.
You're going to want to follow because it's coming out very soon.
It's coming out August 30th.
Oh, August 30th? Did you wait? August 30th is coming out? Oh, sorry. August
but the
30th.
basic story is Sam plays this character, Jake, and he gets $10,000 or a specific amount of money towards college. He doesn't want to go to college. His grandparents hold that check. He wants to go rob it with his friends. And that's when the action comes at the end, when they actually have the robbery. You're going to have to see what happens.
And then who knows what happens? You're going to have to see
it. The trailer's out now. But you basically have this idea of like, okay, all this time is building up to the action. Yeah. And in the trailer, I can't even use that action because it gives away the story. So it's like, there's what can be so entertaining? Like, action to me is the most entertaining thing.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of, like, I think
that comes down to the person. I think... It's really down.
I feel like most people would say action is the most entertaining. Now, the most fulfilling, maybe not. Like, the most entertaining, like, that's so entertaining. Like, Mr. Beast is really entertaining, but I don't love everything.
Yeah,
now,
you're not, like,
kind
fulfilled.
of a bad comparison to, like, film world of...
But I know. I think everyone would understand what you're saying there, because it's very, like, you're watching him, and it's a lot of quick action, and it's entertaining, but it's not, like... a whole lot of substance.
Yeah,
like you're not
you're
not being fulfilled, like you said, by like you're not being fulfilled by a train going into a hole. You're like, that was cool. You're not going to see that. It's action. It's quick paced.
But if it has maybe like, because like what you get in these other short films, and I know we're going to jump into some other ones. I know that Sam studied a lot of them. But it's like, okay, a short film is all about telling a story. I think American Dreamers tells a story in one day. Right?
Yeah.
It's basically that's the idea of like they start in the morning, they go rob.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of this basic, literally the outline.
In the most simple terms.
But in Amblin, it's like, all right, I mean, they're walking on a road, basically.
Yeah.
The big shave takes place in literally a 5-minute. It's like, what is the best length for a short film?
Yeah.
Because I really like the 15-minute, like, American Dreamers. That's really fun to me.
Yeah.
But what I wonder is, like what we're going to do, sneak peek, Men in Black, is like a fun little... It's kind of like taking American Dreamers and shortening it a little bit and saying, like, let's not tell a whole day. Let's tell, like, a 2-hour span.
Yeah.
Like, can we tell an interesting 2-hour span in this world? Because all these really good short... And, like, Bottle Rocket, I mean, that's kind of like an American Dreamers of, like, all right, we're just telling a story. We're telling... Like, what does a short film need to be 1 day, 1 year? Like, what's the length of a short film that's best? And I think thinking of it like that gets a little gimmicky. I don't think you want to place. It's like, how long do you need to tell this story?
Yeah.
Right, this story takes place over 10 days. I'm going to show a 5-minute short film.
And Amblin was weird to me. I feel like it was, so it's like 26 minutes, I think.
It's a long watch.
It was kind of painful to watch.
The 2-minute opening credits that's terrible.
Yeah,
I cannot do.
I started to skip a little bit.
Opening credits, I think, in a full feature, I like them.
Yeah.
They need to be interesting.
Yeah.
Like James Bond actually does a really fun way of doing it.
Skyfall is one of my favorite opening. It's so cool. It's always cool, like the gun barrel. You see, like James Bond. You see him running around. You see the names.
But a short film, it doesn't fit.
Yeah, no.
I don't need to know. Like, sometimes I'm even like, should I even show the title card?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's fun. It's branding, a good recognition. Like, you've seen the American, for us at least, if you follow us, you know the American Dreamers logo. You know exactly what it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
So you see it, you know that's American Dreamers
You're
related.
cementing it in, which I think is important. The opening credits really slow it down. 2 minutes.
But it can also set you in that world, right?
Yeah, because
like
it kind of is.
both.
It's more of like an establishing period where you're like showing what's around. You're showing kind
like
of
the
like
big
what's going
shave,
on.
slow shots, kind of.
Yeah, I don't know.
But if The Big Shave had Martin Scorsese film on it, like, what do we think about that? I mean, that's an interesting. Maybe it works.
But what if it was John Smith short film? Like, it's cool that it's Martin Scorsese, but if it's John Smith,
and are you just saying John Smith is just
like
random?
that's just The medical name that they put down for unregistered people.
John Smith?
Yeah.
Wow, Sam I did not know that. You come to the Suka Podcast for film first, second for Sam's medical knowledge.
Medical knowledge, I'm here.
Sam's got a medical family behind him, so they just are feeding him info. John Smith, that's funny. If your name's John Smith, bummer.
Yeah, that is really sad.
Default, you're
you have the
NPC.
most common name ever.
You're literally an NPC default character in the world, legally.
Yeah.
So John, okay, it's cool that it's Steven Spielberg's, but if John Smith or blank or whatever,
Yeah.
John Smith's short film produced by John Smith's younger brother,
John Smith Jr.
John Smith Jr. Then it's like
I don't care about that person.
Like if at any point at your film people skip, that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Kind of thinking of it. But there is some stuff, like some people just can't do like back and forth dialogue to set up. Like in American Dreamers, it's back and forth, it's funny.
That's one thing about Amblin, no dialogue at all.
Which is interesting. Now, my dad, who wrote American Dreamers, this is a little sneak peek. He's going to work with one of his writer friends, and Sam and I are going to help him out. He's making a film. He's a filmmaker as well. And he's like, I don't want a ton of dialogue. Like, I want to make it a pretty visual, which is, like, I think is a good, like, you want people to see, especially looking internationally. Like, if someone in, like, wherever, China or
That's true.
somewhere that doesn't speak the same language, it's like, if they don't know what's going on, like The Big Shave, anyone in the world can watch that.
There's no dialogue at all. He just is shaving his face.
But again, it's like for a comedy film, that wouldn't work.
Yeah, no, you can't. Unless it's like Charlie Chaplin, where you're just like smacking your head and like.
Yo.
But yeah, I didn't really think of it in like the international sense of like, depending on what film it is, you can really put some power in without dialogue.
And maybe the dialogue should only enhance, like I think part of me wants to believe in the idea that I feel like I heard some director say one time, you should be able to turn the volume off and know exactly what's happening.
I
agree with that point. And I think that's because we believe in that.
Yeah.
Like visual storytelling is very powerful,
Yeah.
and it should be the importance, which I think Sorrow's Grave maybe visually was the best storytelling yet. Just because I don't know, obviously there's a lot to improve on stuff of like following the main character with movement, keeping it static when it's like thinking of this idea of when these directors made this, is it more unique that like it was a lot easier whatever, like 20, 30, 40 years ago. I mean, look at, so that was 1968 or 1978.
No, 68.
68. So, I mean, you're talking 50 years ago he made that.
Yeah, that is a long time ago.
So it's like, there's been so many short films done. You want to be unique, and especially as a director, I'm thinking, how can I make this unique? But it's like, you almost like, at least I think this creative process of you can't decide this is my style. Oh, when I go into actors, I just want to go and do a 360
I just pictured Fast and Furious.
No, what was that? That was
That was Fast and Furious. Yeah. Because every time. So if you haven't seen Fast and Furious 10, there's like every establishing shot of the city there, and it's like
720 crazy.
It's so crazy. It's
too
so
intense.
funny. But yeah, you can't really decide it just kind of happens, and I think it's really just up to what you like. And I think
it's like a trope, they call it.
Yeah.
But like when you're watching a Wes Anderson movie, I never want the feeling to be, this must be a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
Like Spielberg movies, I mean, if you turned off, like if you like for some reason put 10 of Spielberg's movies together and showed someone that's never seen them before, I think they would just be like, these are all great.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty, I mean, John Williams and Spielberg work hand in hand. So
Yeah.
like anytime you hear John Williams, you're probably going to think subconsciously Steven Spielberg. But if you took away all the names and you watched like these films, you're gonna be like, okay, they're pretty similar. But if you watch Wes Anderson, you know they're all the same guy.
That was one of my problems with the newest movie, Asteroid City. I felt like he was trying so hard to be Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
And like if you go back and watch Asteroid City, like you were saying, you can tell it's him, but it's not like overwhelming, and it's like it's using those elements that he loves in a good fashion. I felt like, maybe this is just me, but I felt like it was so much and so in your face about it. It was like tons of like the 90-degree turn of like...
Or when he just does like the track and goes through everyone. He uses a lot of blocking, which is just like, if I'm standing here, Sam walks by me.
And then like a ton of symmetrical, super quirky dialogue. It was just like, I just got like overwhelmed by like how Wes Anderson it was. I was like, I just can't get behind it. It like distracted me from the story. Maybe that's just like because I've like seen a lot of Wes Anderson. I'm like, I'm looking out for it, and maybe people don't notice that if they're not looking for it, but that's just how I felt with it. So I don't know.
When he was creating Bottle Rocket, he was not thinking, I want to be Wes Anderson.
Yeah,
he was thinking, how can I tell this in an how can I show this story? How can I tell this story the best way? And you can see those small elements of like, okay, quirky dialogue makes this more interesting. Yeah. He wasn't saying, okay, I need, like, maybe Asteroid City is much better without quirky dialogue, without a ton of symmetry. But is Wes Anderson going to get, now, have you, the leaked clip of Wes Anderson is so funny. Screaming. Oh my gosh, he's like,
I'm Wes Anderson. I'm Wes Anderson. You don't tell me what to do. You do what I say.
If it's not symmetrical, you're out. It's like.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. If that's how you're on a set.
And in this day and age, like, you can't be just throwing that around, especially with how many, like, anyone can record anything you're saying. You just, and first of all, like, come on, have some self-respect.
You are a human. People are humans around you. Treat them like people. You're Wes Anderson. You're a movie director. You're not a god.
Yeah.
You're just a normal person. Chill
Even
out.
though, like, the director gets treated like, bow down, don't talk.
Yeah.
Which is something Sam and I want to do. And we're all, I want Sam to tell people, like, do not talk to Luke. He will snap on you. And then I go, I'm like, what did you just say to me? And then we troll them. We're like, here's a cookie. Please work for me.
That'd be so funny.
But what kind of the thought of, like, I don't think this is what makes Spielberg so good. I don't think he ever thought, I need to do this really nice slow pan movement because I'm Steven Spielberg. I think he was like, this is how stories are told best. This is where it fits best.
I love that. I love his movement.